Hey guys, in today's video I have the album The Crazy World of Arthur Brown. Now this was released in 1968. Um, now this is kind of a very theatrical record. Arthur Brown gives a very theatrical performance. Um, I think he was probably doing all the theatrics before Alice Cooper and say Kiss. He had a very like the title of the album, or he had a very crazy performance. Uh, the hit single off of this was called Fire. Um, and if you watch some of the videos on YouTube, there's videos of him performing fire, and he's actually setting himself on fire. Sometimes he'll be wearing this crazy helmet with flames coming out of it and things like that. And he's still around performing to this day. Um, Now that this album went to number 7 on the Billboard charts, and number 2 in the UK, and number 1 in Canada. The crazy world of the crazy world of the Canadians over there. He went number 1. Uh, Pete Townsend had some involvement in this. He was an associate producer on 1 or 2 songs, I believe. Um, the Crazy World of Arthur Brown. Now he's still around performing to this day. After he was with this band, he was in several other bands, including solo by himself. Uh, he was in a band called Kingdom Come. Now that's not to be confused with a 1980s hair band, which was called Kingdom Come, and I believe they had a sound a lot like Led Zeppelin, or people compared them to that. But this is a great album. Go pick it up if you find it in any of your record stores or thrift shops. It's a very psychedelic record, as you can tell going by the cover. Um, this was released in stereo and mono. This is a stereo copy right here, and I do believe most of them were released in stereo until recently. You can pick up they got a huge box set you can get. I think it's like $50, and it comes with CDs, a stereo and mono copy of the album, and some booklets, and I don't know about a poster and that type of stuff. But this is the crazy world of Arthur Brown. And he definitely had a theatrically crazy performance. I imagine going to one of his concerts, everybody had a good time. Um, the top song during 1968 was Hey Jude by the Beatles. Um, a couple of big movies at the time was Space Odyssey and The Love Bug. Now, I didn't go look that up, but I'm assuming that's Herbie from Herbie and the Love Bug, the Disney movie. The Big Mac was 89 cents in 1968. Uh, and the lava lamps that you see in everybody's music rooms these days got its patent in 1968. And for some reason, I thought that lava lamp was a lot older than that, but 68 seems like a good period for it to pop out during the whole love and flower scene there. Um, and a board game at the time was Don't Break the Ice. Now, that game was all of these, it was a square, like plastic board, and it had these plastic cubes in there, and you sat your little guy, a little plastic guy on top, and you used a little plastic hammer to hammer out the plastic ice cubes until the whole thing falls in, and whoever has the most collected little cubes won the game. And kind of appropriate for this album that I shared is a 1977 board game put out by Milton Bradley, and that's a game called Superstition. This is a 2 to 4 player game. It was mostly for kids from ages 7 to 14, it says on there, but here I am, like in 52, and I picked this game up to play just to kind of bring back some memories or things I never had at the time. Um, wasn't really a racing game, but it was whoever could reach the tomb in the middle. The guy in the tomb, there was supposed to be somebody in there, and you had to get in there to get inside the tomb, and there's the game board there. I didn't break out all the pieces because there's so many little small parts to this that I didn't want to drop and lose anything. But it's a colorful board, and this is a complete game, which is rather exciting. The place where I've been getting my a lot of my classic games only sell games that are complete. So if you go to a thrift store, a lot of times the parts are missing out of things. But this seller that I get them from only sells complete games, which I think is awesome. Here's a picture of the box again, and there goes something avalanching off the shelf. But the object of the game is to reach this guy here in the middle, the little coffin area, and your characters are circling around, going through these various traps or trying to make it through them to get to that guy first. And the little traps that are with it, the base of them look like this little purple gizmo, and the trap is sort of set like this, and it's a rubber band on the back. And I need to get some new rubber bands for this because these ones don't work too well, and there's some of them in there that have rotted over the years, so they're basically like little pieces of crazy plastic at the moment, and they just kind of fall apart. So I have not played this game yet. We have yet to play that game, but once I get this all fixed up, we'll give it a shot and see if we can get our guys through the traps. And on that note, I want to talk a little bit about looking for board games. Now, we have a board game shop here. Well, it's not a board game exclusively. They sell video games, movies, card games, and that sort of thing. Magic the Gathering is a big thing. They have a whole wall full of Magic the Gathering, which I've never played. But you go inside, you go upstairs, and the whole place is full of board games. And in the middle, they have these tables set up where people can go sit in there and play games, because they have a whole section of games that you can try, and you can go in there with your friends or whatever and try out the games before you even buy them. Now, that's all great, but the only problem is that the games that are in there are like twice the price that you can get them for, even 3 or 4 times sometimes what you can get them for online, or if you can find them in various other places like garage sales, thrift stores, antique malls, and places like that. That's where I recommend you get your games before you go to a game shop that sells them for triple what they should be. Like recently, I picked up a game of Risk, which we haven't played yet. That's a new one I'll be showing at some point. And Risk, I bought it for $10. All the pieces are in there and everything. But we went next door, like to a toy store, and in there they wanted, I believe it was $39 for a new game of Risk, when you can get a perfectly good used one for $10 someplace else. And that's kind of what we do with the records too. We kind of try to get bargains on them, and that's the same thing with the board games. It's really gotten quite huge now, board games. I guess they're finally getting some kids and off of their video games, and older people are getting very nostalgic and wanting to actually gather together and play games with each other. But that's my video for tonight, and thanks for joining in and calling. Over and out. Weirdos unite, and go play some board games.